This right here is hands down the best weapon in Minecraft. It deals a whopping 18 damage per shot, has huge explosion range to hit every enemy on screen, and the best thing is, you can even rapid fire it without needing any cheats or commands. Sounds too good to be true? Well, let me show you how to get it. First of all, we need to get our hands on a crossbow. Just in case you don't know, this is how you craft one. Up next, we need to work on our explosive ammunition. As you probably know, crossbows in Minecraft can not only shoot normal arrows, but also firework rockets. Question here being, of course, how can we make these rockets actually deal damage? Let's take a look at that. To make our harmless firework deadly and explosive, we need an item called Firework Stars. These are crafted out of dye, gunpowder, and fire charges. Now, for the dye, you can really use anything you like. It doesn't have any influence on the performance, it just changes the color of the explosion of your rockets. My personal recommendation though would be to go for a dye that is pretty easy to mass produce, like for example white dye that you can simply make out of bone meal. For the gunpowder, we of course get that from creepers, and if you want to learn how to farm thousands of gunpowder per hour, then I just so happen to already have a video on that. I'm gonna put it in the cards so you can check it out later. However, the most interesting part here would of course be the fire charges. These are in and of themselves crafted out of blaze powder and gunpowder. So, in order to get that blaze powder, we unfortunately will have to venture into the nether, where we will find a bunch of blazes spawning in nether fortresses. And once you have all the dye, fire charges, and gunpowder, what you want to do is craft as many of these firework stars as you possibly can. We really need quite a lot of them, so it would make sense to have farms for the raw items. And just on the side, if you could leave a quick like for the video, that would be super helpful with the YouTube algorithm to get this tutorial out to more people. So thank you so much for your support. But yeah, we now successfully mass-produced a bunch of firework stars. Here is how we turn that into rockets. See, the normal harmless firework rockets that we usually make are crafted like this. However, what we can do now is take our freshly made firework stars and add them into the mix. This will then create a special firework rocket that creates the colorful AoE explosion. But of course, we can make it stronger. See, the more firework stars we add when we craft the rocket, the more damage it will deal. To be more precise, at the maximum of 7 firework stars like this, your rocket will deal a whopping 18 damage that is 9 hearts on impact. And not just to a single enemy, no, the explosive AoE with this is gonna be round about 7 by 7 blocks, as you can also see right here. That is some crazy damage output. However, there is one more thing that you need to know here. These max damage rockets that we just crafted don't have the craziest range. If you rather want to shoot targets that are further away, then you can change the recipe a little bit by reducing the number of firework stars and therefore adding more gunpowder. More gunpowder means longer range, but of course it comes at the cost of less damage because we take away the firework stars. So try out a couple of mixes to find your personal sweet spot. And just by the way, to get all the paper that you need to craft these rockets, well, I also already have a dedicated sugarcane farm for that. I'm also going to put it in the cards so you can check it out later. However, getting our explosive rockets is only the first step. Up next, it is also very important to pick the right enchantments. See, for the crossbows, there are a plethora of enchantments available. Of course, we can always use stuff like unbreaking or maybe even mending to increase the durability, but that's technically optional and has no influence on our damage output. The next enchantment I want to talk about would be piercing, which makes it that one of your arrows can not only hit one enemy, but can actually fly through enemies and damage multiple foes that are standing in a row. This enchantment though, while being certainly nice, doesn't have any effect on rockets unfortunately, so we're not going to use it for the rocket launcher. One thing that I highly recommend though would be multi-shot. Multi-shot makes it that, instead of just firing one projectile with your crossbow, you will instead fire 3 at the same time. This not only goes for normal arrows, but, you guessed it, also for our explosive rockets. And the best thing here is, even though we fire multiple rockets at a time, we still only consume 1 ammo for it. It's essentially free damage. And given that these missiles spread out a bit, we get an even larger explosion radius with all 3 blasts interlinking. The last enchantment on our list would be Quick Charge, which is a huge quality of life boost because it massively reduces the time that we need to reload the crossbow. You can see it in the background right here. The difference is day and night. So you definitely want to have Quick Charge 3. With the rocket ammo and all the enchantments that we just talked about, you now have the crazy rocket shotgun. But before we end the video, let's also talk about how we can now rapid fire it. The usual tips for rapid firing crossbows that you get on YouTube always have to do with using commands to get yourself a Quick Charge 5 enchantment. But you can't get it normally, and if you play on a server, of course, you cannot use commands. So the way I do it, that works on servers, would be like this. See, the big advantage of crossbows in comparison to normal bows is that you can pre-load them. So our trick here is to not only use one crossbow, but actually up to 9 crossbows that we can all charge in advance and then put into the different slots of our quick bar. When you then want to go and attack an enemy, you could just run up to them and unload all 9 crossbows in rapid succession. If you want to buff that up even further, you could even use a macro to do that for you, like the auto hotkey one that I have right here, which automatically swaps through my inventory slots and fires all crossbows in just a second. However, one important thing I should mention here though, in Minecraft, any type of player or mob can only take damage once every half a second. And unfortunately, that means rapid firing our crossbow like this kinda doesn't even make sense because we would just waste all that damage. So in general, just using a normal Quick Charge 3 enchantment is gonna be more than enough. And now check out this video next for the best creeper farms giving you thousands of gunpowder per hour. See you next time, and until then, craft well.